Welcome to the Regenerative Agriculture, Thriving as a Modern Rancher, the podcast for ranchers and land stewards looking to build healthy land, profitable businesses, and a fulfilling life. Join us as we explore regenerative practices and holistic management to help you thrive in today's ranching world. Welcome to another episode of Agriculture, Thriving as a Modern Rancher. Today we're diving into a topic that could save you thousands of dollars and countless hours of frustration. The mistakes that many landowners make when they jump into action without a clear plan. When I first started out as a landowner, I made so many mistakes myself. Let me share one of them with you. When I bought my 5 acres when I arrived in Texas, one of the first things I did was build a permanent chicken coop. I had this vision of fresh eggs and happy hens, and I wanted to jump right in. My kids and I built it together. It was solid, practical, and carefully designed. I paid attention to things like wind direction and sunlight, building a north-facing plywood wall for protection from the cold, with chicken wire on other sides of the building. For ventilation, we even added nesting boxes and roofs and topped it off with a corrugated metal roof. When the hens started laying, it was magical. We loved collecting eggs every day and enjoying their fabulous taste. But when it rained, the problem started. The coop turned into a muddy mess. Collecting eggs meant slogging through the mud, and the hens' feet were constantly dirty, so the eggs were too. It was frustrating and messy. Eventually, I learned that laying down mulch or hay helped mitigate the mud, but it was far from a perfect solution. Then I came across Joel Salatin's book on pastured poultry, and his idea of a poultry tractor completely changed my perspective. The concept was so simple but brilliant. Instead of having a permanent coop, the hens would live in a movable structure that allowed them to graze on fresh grass, deposit manure to fertilize the soil, and then be moved to a new patch of grass before any damage was done. We tore down that permanent coop and built a low-cost tractor using PVC, chicken wire, and a tarp for shade. It wasn't fancy, but it worked beautifully. The poultry tractor taught me an important lesson. Before making big decisions, you have to take the time to understand your land and how your choices will affect its long-term health and productivity. That's what today's episode is all about. The 3 biggest mistakes I see new landowners make when they skip foundational planning. If you're feeling overwhelmed or unsure how to start your homestead, farm, or ranch, this episode will show you why slowing down and building a strong foundation is key to long-term success. Mistake number 1 is jumping into action without understanding the land. One of the biggest mistakes many new landowners make is failing to assess their land before making any decisions. Let me share a story about a couple I worked with who purchased land in Texas that had recently been cleared of forest. They were eager to start their ranching venture and brought in 20 head of cattle and 30 sheep right away. But as summer progressed, they realized that forage on their land wasn't adequate to support their livestock. So they broadcasted them instead. The result, barely any germination. They ended up spending thousands on that native seed mix that didn't provide them a return on their investment, and then thousands on hay to feed their livestock, which put them in a difficult financial position. Had they taken the time to assess the soil and the land's readiness for livestock, they could have avoided these costly mistakes. Mistake number 2 is overcommitting without a clear vision. The second mistake is trying to do too much too soon. Many new landowners dive into multiple enterprises without considering how to balance their time, their finances, and their experience. One couple I worked with had just purchased their dream property and couldn't wait to make it a reality. In their first year, they built their dream ranch, planted a half-acre vegetable garden, added chickens, raised several batches of broilers, started beekeeping, brought in goats for dairy, and even homeschooled their 3 young children. Before long, the steep learning curve caught up with them. They were juggling competing priorities, keeping the garden alive during a drought, protecting chickens from predators, milking goats, treating them for parasites, and managing disease in their bees. Then Mother Nature threw them a curveball. Deer and drought wiped out their garden. Predators stressed the chickens. Summer heat stunted the broilers, and their bees didn't make it through the winter. By the end of the second year, they were emotionally drained and financially stretched, questioning if they should move back to the city. The problem? Their eyes were bigger than their stomach. They overcommitted to too many enterprises without a clear vision or realistic plan. Mistake number 3, neglecting financial planning. The third mistake is treating your property like a hobby instead of an enterprise. The same couple I mentioned earlier spent heavily on infrastructure and projects without considering their return on investment. They bought in a premium chicken coop, installed decorative fencing for their garden, and invested thousands in reseeding their pasture, only to see it fail due to drought and unsuitable soil conditions. Had they prioritized their investments that match their land's needs, like improving soil health or installing an irrigation system, they could have set themselves up for success instead of financial strain. Every dollar you spend on your land should move you closer to a sustainable, profitable future. These stories share a common theme. Success on your land isn't about doing everything at once. It's about taking the time to assess your land, define your vision, and make smart decisions that align with your long-term goals. This is why I created my 4-week Homestead Farmer Ranch Planning course. It's designed to help landowners like you avoid these mistakes and build the foundation you need to succeed. Here's what you'll gain in the course: clarity about your vision and goals, a tailored plan based on your land's unique strengths and challenges, tools to make informed decisions that align with your financial, ecological, and quality of life goals. The next session starts on Wednesday, January 22nd, 2025, and registration is open now. Don't let costly mistakes hold you back from achieving your dream. Visit me on Instagram at Regen Ranch Consulting and send me a DM with the word dream to get more details and to register. Thanks for joining me today and listening to me on this episode. I can't wait to see you in the course, and I'll see you in more episodes. Thanks for listening to Regenerative Agriculture, Thriving as a Modern Rancher. If you enjoyed today's episode, please subscribe, share with fellow ranchers, and leave a review. Together we can regenerate our lands, our profits, and our lives. Until next time, keep thriving.